This is a genuine purebred wolfhound named Agush. He is 6 years old. He was born in the mountains of Kopet, and behind him are thousands of sleepless nights. Agush has repeatedly saved sheep from predators. He would charge into battle without hesitation, and every scar on his body is a mark of brutal fights. He has no self-preservation instinct. He is ready to give the last drop of his blood, but he will never betray his shepherd, and he will fight to his last breath to protect the sheep from predators. And here in the mountains, there are plenty of them, from wolves to hyenas and leopards.
Gel Akkuş gel gel gel.
The life of these dogs is incredibly harsh. They don't know what rest means. It breaks my heart to look at his scars, at his wounds. But at the same time, I am proud that the Turkmen Alabai knows no fear. They are capable of enduring terrible climatic conditions where the ground burns beneath their feet. It can be compared to hell on earth. In Turkmenistan, the air heats up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit, and the ground temperature reaches 176 degrees Fahrenheit. Unlike factory-bred dogs, which are raised in enclosures under artificial conditions, Aboriginal selection is based on natural selection. This process has been going on for many thousands of years. That is why Aboriginal dogs are truly strong animals. I believe that Agush will make it, survive, and surely recover.
Антибиотик что-нибудь. Ай, откуда знаешь, бля? А?
Unfortunately, my financial resources are limited. The money I earn from monetization barely covers my travel expenses to get here and show you these dogs. So please don't judge me too harshly. If I had the means, I would gladly bring at least the most basic medications, even just antibiotics.
Волк, все видел он. Ма.
Besides having the heart of a lion, Agush is also a very typical well-bred representative of his breed. Take a look at the line of his head, and look at his pasterns. They are powerful and tight-knit. Notice how his ears are set. They are at eye level. This is a very purebred dog, a very purebred animal. And his attitude toward people, after all, we are complete strangers to him, yet he has never once shown any aggression. He knows his enemy is the predator.
Чая, ран, питание, всего. Вечные драки с хищниками, не то что самим себе подобным. Конкретно волки, гиены, барсы здесь. Акусяма. У него пясть у него бешеная, честно говоря. Акш. Здесь не хапнешь ты меня. Мучают они его.
Let's wish him a speedy recovery. God willing, everything will heal, everything will fall into place, and he will get back on his feet. And now I'm going to show you a legendary dog, a 9-year-old male named Boris. Words will be unnecessary there. You will see everything for yourselves.
На нем тоже живого места нет. Гель. Твою мать. 9 лет. Конкретный боец. Воин. Ёб твою мать. Ой, бля.
This is Boris. He is 9 years old, and he has lived a long, harsh life in the mountains of Kopet. Thousands of sleepless nights, hundreds of clashes with predators, wolves, hyenas, leopards. Every scar on his body is a story. Every mark from fangs is a reminder of how many times he stood his ground to the death, protecting his shepherd's sheep. If Boris were a soldier, his entire chest would be covered in medals. I have filmed him many times. The first time I met him in the mountains was in 2023, and he was covered in scars, as if he had been put through a meat grinder. Then, 8 or 9 months later, I met him again in the mountains, and he looked exactly the same, as if he had just come out of some fierce battle. Despite his age, his blood still runs hot. The years have not cooled it, and the fire in his eyes has not gone out. But now Boris is on a well-deserved retirement. Just recently, the shepherd brought him home, and now for all the time that God has given him, he will live in peace. No more fights with wolves and hyenas. Just a warm yard, peace and quiet. He has earned this. The legend is retiring. May the time that has been given to him be peaceful.
Там у него, короче, кошмар. И чай попьем и дальше поедем. Umut, ay itle video aler. Gel, gel. Gel karakulak, gel, gel, gel. Mah. Adama değmiyor mu? Flash o karakulak çağırsana da dost gayrı.
Before you is a young male named Akush. He is 2 years old. It's already hot here, and he is a bit thin. But his head, when I evaluate dogs, I never look at whether they are thin or not. These are Aboriginal dogs. The main food they get from the shepherd is bread. That's why I always look at the legs and the head. And this male has a very well-bred head. It hasn't fully developed yet, but by 3 or 4 years old, he will be a magnificent male. And never judge flock guarding dogs by being thin. This is their natural working condition. Never judge and say, oh, it's thin. These are working dogs. They are on the job 24/7, and not just physically, but mentally as well.
Хорошенький. Ах. Phew.
There in the distance is Akush's father, but he categorically refused to come up to us. His sheep are more important to him than YouTube publicity. A true wolfhound never abandons his flock. I remind you, we are in Turkmenistan, in a mountainous area called Nokur. Beyond these mountains lies the territory of Iran.
Да, вот смотри, вот, например, маленький щенок, да? Маленький щенок. Собака? Да, собака. Вот когда он, например, балуется или не слушается, они его бьют вообще или просто словами ругают?
I asked the shepherd whether they raise the puppies themselves and how it happens. And here is what he told me. He said that he himself barely interferes in this process. The only thing he allows himself is a firm voice if a puppy does something wrong. Everything else is taken care of by the adult dogs. It happens naturally. When food is put out, the adults approach the bowl first, the leader always eats first, and only then the little ones are allowed. If a young puppy tries to cut in line, an older dog will sharply put him in his place. He might even grab him by the scruff, shake him, and toss him aside. The mother does the same if she feels her puppy is getting too bold. So it is mostly the older dogs that raise the puppies. They not only stop bad behavior, but also set a good example. We humans play only a small part in this process. The main teachers for a puppy are his mother and the whole pack. Before you is another representative of true Aboriginal wolfhounds, a male named Peling. He is 3 years old. The shepherd tried to lure Peling out, but he just growled. This is a dog with a strong sense of dignity. He showed no aggression toward us. He didn't bark, didn't move. No action came from him at all. But that growl spoke louder than any words. It was as if he said, "Friend, I've done my job. I've been walking behind the sheep all day long. I want to rest. Don't bother me." And we understood him correctly. This was not aggression. This was simply a sense of self-worth.
За отечественную суку дрался он. Вытащили. Не, ох, бля. Да, что-то сегодня все битые собаки. Ладно, ничего, нормально взяли. Давай, не будем ему тоже, короче, этот. Да. Шохрат. Novruz. Itkovы горяме. Alabai говы горяме. Руки в карманах, блатыш, да? Блатное. Novruz. Ne kaç yaşında sen? 11? 11 лет.
This is Basar. He is a year and a half old, and he has a well-bred, massive head. One of the exceptional traits of flock-guarding dogs is the way they eat bread. Many dogs don't eat meat with as much appetite as these dogs eat bread.
Gel. Я не знаю, честно говоря, камера передает, не передает, но в реальности это просто убойная голова. Баска!
This flock consists of 1,000 head. About 70% of them are goats, and around 30% are sheep.
90% козы, да, у тебя или как здесь?
Процентов 60-70
Козы,
Могут
Да.
поймать его, а так режем сами, там требуха, все дела.
Кишки им отдаете, да?
Да.
А как часто ты это даете вы им? Примерно там
Да,
раз в
режем,
неделю, раз.
да,
Ну,
режем.
примерно как это бывает?
Дай месяц или полмесяца.
Один раз, да? Ну,
так.
но потолок.
Или там бывает волками драка, тогда даем.
Ага.
The shepherd says that the main food they give the dogs is bread in the morning and in the evening. But they also eat meat. He has often noticed them catching field mice and rats. And by the way, that is exactly why they are so often bitten by snakes when they crawl into burrows after their prey. He also says that if a dog has encountered a predator, if it has gone after a wolf or a leopard, he will definitely slaughter one sheep and give it to that dog as a token of gratitude. And about once every 15 days, when they slaughter a sheep for themselves or for other reasons, all the innards and leftovers, everything goes to the dogs.
Доживают в среднем вот так вот, если взять.
6, 7, 8.
В основном, да?
Да.
9-10, это уже значит, повезло ему, скажешь, да? Так, да?
Все,
Да.
окончательно, зубы кончают.
Да.
The shepherd says that flock guarding dogs usually live 6 to 8 years. By that age, they no longer have any teeth left. And those dogs that live to 9 or even 10 years, they are truly unique animals. They are incredibly lucky because the work they do every single day is exhausting to the limit. It wears them out not only physically, but also mentally. These dogs live in constant tension, in motion, in the heat, in the dust, and every encounter with a predator could be their last. That is why every year they live is a real feat, and 10 years in the mountains is almost a miracle.
Крупнее были.
Раньше была мука дешевле,
Да.
и их питали хорошо. Без дрожжи, без
Да.
сами вот хлеб делали, давали. А сейчас все с магазина берут, с магазина.
I asked the shepherd how long he had been walking these mountains. He replied that his father had also been a shepherd, and that he himself had been among dogs, among flocks, in this harsh mountain life since early childhood. Then I asked him a second question. Are today's dogs any different from the ones you saw in your childhood? The shepherd paused and said, yes, the dogs used to be larger. I was curious why that was, and he explained, in the past, flour was cheap. We ground it ourselves. Bran, gray flour, dark flour. It was filling and kept the dogs satisfied for a long time. The dogs were healthy, strong, and powerful. But now flour is expensive, and we buy bread from shops. Almost all shepherds feed this bread to their dogs. But modern store-bought bread is empty. It contains no nutritional value, just yeast. It doesn't provide real fullness. That is why the dogs have, so to speak, gotten smaller. In these words lies the truth about how life in the mountains has changed, and how, along with it, the wolfhounds themselves have changed.
Как тигр были
Да.
раньше они. Даже два одного тигра могли взять.
Гаплана, здесь водится
Да,
много
два
барсов,
братья,
да.
Два братья. Сейчас четверо, пятеро подходить не могут. Сейчас и тигр много, и волк много здесь.
The shepherd also complains that there have been far too many leopards, wolves, and hyenas lately.
Ружья, да.
I asked him what that was connected with. He replied, in the past, we used to have guns. We never shot to kill, of course, but at least we could scare them off in case of danger, fire a shot into the air. But now they fear nothing. Sometimes, even in broad daylight, you look and they're just standing there. They have multiplied so much now.
За оружие прям так не стреляли, а
Да.
пугали.
Шугали,
Да.
да.
А сейчас и шугать нету, и пугать
Да.
нету. Они, вон недавно, вон там один, он обычно где дерево, в этом бывает.
Да.
А он вот на таком месте оказался. Есть барс.
Даже не прячется, да,
Да,
короче?
взял один баран, ушел.
Ушел, да?
The shepherd also noticed that leopards mostly take females, not males. He says he doesn't know why that is. I suggested that, unlike a male, a female might be easier to take. The male resists more fiercely. He is more powerful. But the shepherd just shrugged. I don't know, but when leopards do take dogs, it's usually the females. He also told me that recently a leopard had taken a sheep, climbed up a tree with it, and the shepherd saw it. He went over there, and the dogs followed him. He shouted, then threw a stone at the leopard. The leopard bared its teeth and leaped from the tree straight at the shepherd, but the dogs didn't hesitate. They performed brilliantly, sank their teeth into the leopard, and drove it off. After that, the shepherd slaughtered 3 sheep and gave them to the dogs, for their loyalty, for their fearlessness.
К нему, в общем, отпусти туда-сюда.
Да.
Нет, взял, забрал.
Давай,
И
чай пьем,
он
Пей,
еще
пей
что
спокойно.
пойдем, да?
Он еще что делает? Вот сейчас козел берет
Да.
или барана,
Да,
он
Baba yesene sen çöreği.
в этот поднимает в дерево.
да.
Там
На арча.
ставит, да, арча.
Ничего себе.
Туда ставит,
Да.
он может через день, через два прийти. Вот,
Ага.
опять.
I also asked the shepherd, what is your attitude toward cowardly dogs that won't go after a predator? He replied, it's not even about those that don't go after a predator. Take, for example, when we meet my flock and another flock, and the dogs start fighting. If I see that my dog didn't step in, didn't come to the aid of its pack, I get rid of such a dog. I asked, how? He said, I destroy it. I don't need a coward. I don't need a traitor dog. If it was afraid to go after its own kind, then it will definitely not go after a predator. I don't keep such dogs. I don't need a dog that is incapable of working. No matter how beautiful it may be, it is useless in the mountains. It does not fulfill its purpose. It is an animal that cannot be called a true wolfhound.
2 раза в неделю приходят. Как они вообще приходят сюда?
А если света нет, каждый день приходит.
Ох, бля.
А где свет есть, они боятся.
Да.
Здесь
По-русски хороший
ток есть.
разговаривает.
Да, отлично.
I want to make a brief digression from the subject of dogs and talk about the shepherd himself. This man is not just a shepherd with the right mindset. He is a human being with a capital H, because behind him, literally in the background, lies his child, a boy who has been bedridden his entire life. He has a condition where fluid does not drain from his brain and stays there, causing his head to be unusually large. I don't know the exact name of this illness. They have placed a shunt in him, but he remains bedridden. And the shepherd never abandoned him. He didn't leave him in an orphanage. He didn't turn his back. He is there every single day. He takes care of him. That is an act that speaks louder than any words. I want everyone who has watched this far to simply say a prayer for this child. God willing, may everything turn out well for him. May he be spared from suffering and pain, because it is incredibly hard to watch your own child lie there, unable to get up, unable to speak, barely able to move. But this shepherd is a true man. He never gave up. He will care for him until the very end. And that commands a respect that cannot be measured.
Вот, бля, они действительно благородные, да, сколько у них инстинкт самосохранения нету, да, вот у хорошего Алабая, да, правильно?
Вот
Он может
хозяина
бросить,
спасли.
да, он может свою жизнь запросто отдать, да. Хороший кобель, если мы, конечно, не все такие собаки, я думаю, я думаю, не каждая собака пойдет на хищника.
Ну да, а они идут на хищника.
А если твоя собака не пойдет на хищника, что ты будешь его держать, что ты застрелишь, что ты сделаешь? Некоторые говорят, вот, например, если он не идет на волка, бросил отару, предал, например, пастуха, баранов, я, говорит, его хлеб немножко дам, на сытый желудок, я его застрелю, говорит, держать не буду, например, такого.
Нет, или застрелить, или повесить, все с двух один.
А так просто иди отсюда, вот ты не скажешь ему,
Он
то есть, не
куда
уйдет, да?
пойдет, он не знает, куда идти.
Да.
Он рожденный, он это.
Но тебе такая
Охранник.
собака не нужна, насколько бы он красивый бы не был, еще что-то. Если он, как бы скажем, трус,
Я его не буду держать.
не будешь держать.
The shepherd says, I will not keep a dog even if it abandons its flock when a fight breaks out between flocks. I don't need such a dog. It is at this very moment that he explains his harsh but fair stance. I asked him many more questions, and one of them concerned his attitude toward dogfighting. He replied that he considers it wrong. Their purpose is not fighting in a ring. Their place is here, in the mountains. Let them die protecting the flock, going after a predator, but deliberately pitting dogs against each other. That is wrong. He is categorically against it and considers it a bad and meaningless practice. That is his view, his opinion, and I decided to voice it here as well.
Его уже убираем.
А еще такой вопрос, вот вообще, как ты считаешь, вот бои, вот отношение к твоим боям, как вот то, что вот бои идут и так, вот и так далее, это как вообще харам, это как вообще твое какое мнение?
Мнение, это самый беспонтовая вещь, вот это бои.
Да,
Собаки, которые бой пускают,
да.
это ну, по-мусульмански вообще невозможно. Не надо его делать.
Я люблю собак.
Я тоже люблю собак.
Я, блядь, если белый, большой, да?
Да, любишь.
Голова, блядь.
Да.
Я
Акуш,
пиздец люблю.
у тебя тоже же беленький машин? Машин тоже у тебя акуш? И вы вот так за ушки, да, взять, вот ты мой хороший, да? Ай, вот так за шею, да, его, ай, тен, акылlı mısın, akıl, да? Akıl. Gel. Ma.
The shepherd asked us to take these puppies to the village. We drove them there, and they were already met and taken in.
Налево, наверное, да? А ты нервничал, вот она. Еще лучше дорога, чем там.